I forget.
Okay. Is it starting on there?
Yeah.
I'll just edit the beginning out.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so I want to thank you all for coming to my incense or traditional incense and HooDoo powder making class. I'm already stumbling, so I'm nervous. I was going to start off doing traditional incense first and then go to HooDoo powders, but since we're actually making incense, I'm going to talk about HooDoo powders first. So do you guys know what HooDoo is? Okay. So
folk magic.
Tell us.
HooDoo, I'm not going to go into it because it's going to take forever to...
Lana doesn't know what HooDoo is.
Okay, I'm going to explain a little bit. It'd take me like forever, like we'll be here for hours if I want to go really in depth about HooDoo. But basically, it's African American folk magic with European influence, and then also Native American influence. So it's like basically like like the religion of the African slaves that were brought here, influenced by the Native American use of like herbs and everything, and their sort of spirituality. And then a lot of their herbal uses also have European influence. So it's like a little bit of everything. It's folk magic, and usually when I see stuff where people who are practicing, they're usually like in the South. Like they'll talk about New Orleans versions of some like different blends and everything. But at this point, it's being practiced everywhere. I have friends in Canada that are practicing HooDoo. I have friends in San Diego, or I'm here in San Diego. I have friends in LA. They're all over the place because it's more accessible now that it's online. But since it's a folk tradition, there are different variations on it depending if you like a family practice or a specific way of doing things. So when you look online, there's tons of different ways of going about everything. But one of the things that in HooDoo that you use are HooDoo powders, and they started off being like just things like one ingredient things like different minerals and herbs, powdered minerals, herbs like sulfur, saltpeter, graveyard dirt, those sort of things would be used as a powder. And what a powder is, I'm not going to get into that yet. But now you can use you can take a herbal blend and ground it into a powder and use that as like a HooDoo powder. Or you can add essential oils to a base like of cornmeal. It's usually arrowroot powder. Do you guys know arrowroot powder? It's like, you can get it at like Henry's. You can use it to bake.
I have it. I have it online too.
Yeah, so it's really easy to get.
So you put the oil in the powder.
Yeah, you can put different conditioned oils, and conditioned oils are different blends used for a specific purpose. And in HooDoo, they're really like straightforward. So say like come to me lover oil, how like easy is that to understand? Or command and compel oil would be like to kind of command like to have control over something. There's more to it than that, but the basic idea is of that. And then there's like follow me boy oil, there's tons of different things. Then there's more like Van oil where you have to read it, which is about like new prospects, door opening, luck, those sort of things. So conditioned oils in HooDoo are just herbal oils. They have like sometimes essential oils, but usually, like the ones I make are usually carrier oil and then a bunch of different woods, roots, flowers, herbs, resins, and then some essential oils on top, but not just plain essential oils. So either you can add those to arrowroot powder or cornmeal, and talc was used for a while too. Like powdered herbs would be added to talc, or oil are added to talc, and you can wear them as a body powder. You can even wear arrowroot powder as a body powder. And then
Could you wear command powder to like be like on your
to like bring something to you, yeah.
Okay.
To kind of give you that sort of energy that you're.
So wear like I don't know, just like smeared on you or.
Well, I have some right here. I brought some different types of incenses with me so you could look at them. This is my can and compel powder.
Okay.
So this is arrowroot powder as a base, and then I put licorice root powder and calamus root powder in here. And then I put essential oils of bergamot, but I didn't put a lot because bergamot, when you put it on your skin, can darken it. So I don't like to use that a lot.
It stains your skin, you said?
Bergamot powder can darken your skin if you go in the sun with bergamot oil. Oh. Not bergamot powder, bergamot oil.
He's so
Sorry.
cute.
But see if you look at it, you can see it's something you can dust on you.
Okay.
So then
Which one is that?
command and compel.
Yeah, I think
That's what I mean.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can sprinkle it like a
Body powder, or you could mix it with baking soda, use it as a
Feel
body
the
powder.
feel the power in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. Maybe.
That's so good. Now I'm lost again. This is why I wrote notes, but I didn't want to sit here and read off them. I just want to make sure I cover everything so you guys aren't totally lost. So if you have questions, you can stop me. Because I go on tangents everywhere.
Forever.
I
like it.
So, okay. So with HooDoo powder...
The power, yeah.
Feels really nice.
It does. It really feels.
I don't even know what I'm throwing in half the time. It's like, oh, that looks good, or that smells good, or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so with the HooDoo powders, if you're using a base, I'm going to say it again just because you caught the video. If you're using a base of arrowroot powder, cornmeal, talc, something like that, you don't burn them because they're going to smell. So if you're making your herbal powder, you can burn them. They still might smell because we're going to test later how herbs smell differently when they burn, but it's going to smell really bad if you use arrowroot powder or something. But with HooDoo powders, you can sometimes also use like a base of saltpeter. I know saltpeter is used in making incenses, or different other powders too. You just have to experiment with them, or it depends on the ingredients that are listed that you need to use for a specific thing if you're trying to follow a certain recipe. But then also using HooDoo powders, you can blow them in the direction of like somebody that you want to place your sort of spell on, in a way. I think they call it like a trick or something in HooDoo. That sounds terrible. And then doing a spell is like, it's called doing a job or something. Or you can blow it in the direction of, like, say a lover you want to bring to you, blow in the direction of the lover. Job you're trying to get, blow in the direction of that business. You can blow it to the 4 corners, the 4 different winds, anything like that. You can, depending on the type of powder, you can, a lot of the times require you to put it in somebody's foot tracks so that you get them. And then there's different ways you can apply it too, like going backwards sometimes requires you to do that. There's all these different little things. It's like endless ways you can use powders. Whereas when we're using herbs, usually the first thing we do is make oils or incense, most of us. So with powders it's different. There's so much you can do with it. You can roll, take a candle and roll it in oil and then roll it in the powder so that it still has the power in there, but it's not really like burning it, so you don't get that nasty smell. I told you can use it as a body powder for some of them. You can put it in your shoes, mojo bags especially you can use them in. HooDoo powders are like super versatile. You can use them in a lot of different things.
You gave me another one when I moved into my house. That was like fiery wall of protection.
Firewall protection oil.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
The protection powder, mine is all resins. I don't add anything, any bases of arrowroot powder or anything. Mine is powdered dragon's blood, powdered frankincense, powdered myrrh, and salt. And then there's different variations on it, but that's the first one I ever found when I was just getting into HooDoo. So that's the one I use now. That one's worked incredibly for me because the herbs I use are like, yeah, yeah. And then there's
all around the openings in my house and the windows.
oh yeah. If you wanted to, if you weren't going to burn it, you could always add it to something so that it lasts longer. Or even using the essential oils, bringing those together. The only difference is the salt.
Like in the, you know how you're
using it as a threshold salt then, or threshold powder. I did a video on that too. Thresholds, because I found some new German Appalachian, different ways in German Appalachian folklore that they have their threshold things.
sweet. Okay.
So I'll
and
talk about that later.
That's on your
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna set this over here. So what was I doing? Okay, so those are different ways that you can use the powders. But then I told you can also make regular herbal powders. Like this one, this isn't a HooDoo one, this is one I've made myself. This is my Cry of the Valkyries mix. It's supposed to help you if you're in the middle of something and you need to get a way out, this can help you, like, not defeat your enemies, but I guess you could think of it that way. So you're on a battlefield, and there's no way out, there's no way to leave. Either it's going to help you, like, get out of this war or help you to overcome your enemies, and then it also afterwards has, like, a protective sort of thing. Oh, wow. It's supposed to, like, take you out of the battle and lift you. The way I described it in my thing is take you out of the battle and take you to the halls of Valhalla so basically you're taken out of the battle either by finishing off something, because it's not going to, in magic you can't like guarantee certain things, right. So it's going to help you finish something so you're finally just out of it, even if it's a painful situation sort of thing, or so basically you're just out of it and it takes you to a place where you need to be.
Do you sell those like in mass quantity?
This one's mostly roots, so it smells. So
And you burn that.
Yeah. So this one's powdered, or I tried to powder. If you see, I did this by hand though, so it's not perfect. If you want to pass it around, these are the first powders I made when I first started learning about HooDoo powders, and those are just herbal. And I didn't add too many essential oils because the roots were going to overpower it anyway. The smell of the roots when you're burning them. And then, so when I say herbs, I'm really talking about like regular herbal things, and then flowers, roots, woods, resins. The herbs are just an easier way instead of on the list of those every time.
Gotcha.
Okay. So I talked about everything here, so we're pretty good at that. So, also, I've sold before. I've made and sold these carpet powders. So you can take herbal. Because I talk about floor sweeps in HooDoo. So you take them and you put them on the floor, but then you can't really use those. You can't sweep those when you're putting them on your carpet. I don't want to put like pure herbs on my carpet all the time, so I always make some baking soda so it has that like absorbing aspect of taking the nastiness out, but also leaves behind like a good energy. So you can always take a powder or an incense that you use, crush it up, and put it in baking soda. But make sure it's no herbs that are really going to stain anything, or essential oils you use are going to make sure they're not staining. Or because some people have like white carpets, and I never understood that because they apparently don't have kids. So
or animals.
Yeah, or animals. Our carpets have always been dark, so I've gotten away with using these. So we're good on that. On to HooDoo. So now we can get into traditional incense. Traditional incense is what I call ritual loose incense. Like everyone knows what ritual loose incense is, right? It's usually just a blend of herbs and oils, and that you burn it on self-lighting charcoal like this. So incense has always been, it's been used for centuries, and like for spiritual religious practices. It's also been used when bathing wasn't a daily thing, or even a weekly thing. Or you couldn't really wash your clothes or anything, so they would burn certain like good smelling woods, and they'd stand over it with their clothes or their bodies or their hair or anything to try and get it, to try to bring that smell to them. So incense for that. And yeah, just a little. But think about it, they didn't have as much chemicals and stuff and all the things they used either.
Right?
So
Like in the wintertime, let's say in Germany.
you're stuck inside. Well, and then
How
also
are you going to bathe without
yeah, that's true.
hot water
Use some
and
rocks.
you know what I mean?
And scrape
it
your
probably
flesh
was
off?
like a weekly thing.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't sound. I'd rather just stink than scraping my flesh off.
I'm gonna have to go with the flesh scraping. I think.
Yeah.
Are you gonna eat it?
And then also it was used like when women were giving birth. A lot of times they burn incenses
Yeah.
to either for medicinal sort of things or like to get rid of spirits and everything, and to dry things out of the room.
Yeah.
So incense is being used in so many different ways. It's like you still use it as aromatherapy
Right.
and different like healing practices. And sometimes I've even had like a tea blend that I thought was really nice. I'm like, oh, let's make a good incense. I'm like, I'd pull it apart, like, this is this and this is that. I'm like, this is perfect. Let's put it on the charcoal. So, I guess you can use them as both ways.
Sure.
And then, okay, so let's see where we're going on. Oh, different types of incense. So stick incense is usually just what you'll find is either the ones that burn away completely, or the ones that are sticks, like on the actual stick, and then it has like a saltpeter base.
How do you get the incense to stick on there? I always wondered about that.
Most people today, they'll buy the sticks pre-made, and it's just saltpeter on top of the stick, and then you add oils to it, and then you have to make sure you soak them and they dry, and then you can burn them. But I've heard somebody, was it you or somebody that's telling me about using cow dung as a base?
Cow dung.
Almost like probably 90% of the incense, the stick incense that you buy that comes from China or
Yeah.
Indonesia or India is camel dung or cow dung if it's
The tongue.
dung.
Poop.
Oh,
Because
poop.
mostly grasses and stuff, right? So it's flammable.
Yeah, so
I didn't
it's
know that.
it's camel or cow poop.
It's
So
poop.
what do they put like oils on it, or would they add herbs to it?
Both.
Okay,
Well,
cool.
it depends on what like Song of India. Have you seen the Song of India? Incense is really popular, or Nag Champa.
Yes.
Yes.
My room is like Nag Champa. Like it's like the walls, the pores in the walls and everything are probably like completely packed with Nag Champa.
Yeah.
Yeah, we burn lung jump all the time, so our walls are full of shit.
But I mean, it's tree. I mean, it's not like
It's like plant
It's
particles.
sacred.
Like,
It's sacred.
it is sacred, and it's
Sacred
also like glue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It like
I see.
holds. It's the bonding element, and it's flammable. So it's like perfect.
So it's like a gum Arabic sort of thing, whatever that they use in like making of why can't I think of it? In incenses and also in ink. Magical inks they use that. I think it's either the I can never pronounce it, the epoxy something gum or the gum Arabic or some
Gum
other
of
stuff.
epoxy or
Something like
yeah,
that.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
So we have stick. So they use saltpeter, and then sometimes they use resins too. It just as the stick, and then the cone, or not the cone incense, but that spiral incense. Have you guys ever seen that?
I've seen it. I've never
It's
used
the
it.
same thing. And then there's the cones, which are either saltpeter. I've seen somebody buy pre-made ones that they added oils to, and it was like a weird cardboard texture. 1 second, and then because I'm gonna forget. And then, or you can make your own. You can make those out of herbs and resins to kind of using the resins to hold them together, and the oils. Or incense balls, but you have to actually burn the incense balls on the charcoal.